So Never Have I Ever pretty much became an instant hit when it debuted a few years ago. Why do you think this show has resonated so much with viewers and audiences of all stripes? Maitreyi, I'll start with you.
Well, I think the beauty of the show is just how human the characters are. They're so human, and the writing room, bless their souls, they really write from their own experience. And because of that, they're of all different backgrounds, identities, and ethnicities. And that shows in the writing, and it shows in our performances. And regardless if you're a young South Asian woman or, you're anything else, you can relate to the human aspects of not only Devi, but all the complex characters that are filled with such nuance. I mean, I'm so proud that I get to be a part of a show that has such a diverse audience. That is truly, it warms my heart. Yeah.
Richa, what about you?
I would have said the same thing. When you write from a place of truth and of personal experience, there's no other way for it to go but to transcend language and cultural barriers. I mean, people watch this show in different languages, not even our voices, and they still love it just as much. And that, to me, that just shows that, just like Maitreyi said, you don't have to be South Indian South Indian, and that's another thing. It's so specific, not just Indian, it's a South Indian family. It's that specific.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the South Indians in here.
Shout out Tamil people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot where I was going with that, but, basically what I was saying is that when, it's that specificity and that nuance, and that's the reason why people have resonated with it all over the world.
Just to let you know, by the time you get to me, I've totally forgotten the question. But I think I know what you said, what you asked. Two things. One is Mindy and Lang set out to write a story about a teenager who had lost a parent. And Mindy and Lang had both lost, Mindy's lost her mom and Lang had lost her dad. And they are, it's always unbelievable to me to always hear that there's so many writers in the writer's room who've lost a parent and how they're still grieving, years later, 10, 15 years later, how the grief process has informed so much of who they are and who they become. And this is one of the best, I think it's the edgiest YA show, young adult show that Netflix has, but it's also, for me, one of the best anatomies of grief portrayed on television. And season 4 is about letting go of grief. But what I love about it is that it's not an active process of letting go. The characters realize that grief has let go of them, which is actually how grief works. You can't do that. It'll take its time. Let's do its thing. So I think it resonated with not only teenagers, but people across the board. We have so many comments of mothers watching this with their daughters and families watching their kids, because it has young adult themes, but also very, very intense, profound adult themes.
I did want to ask you about that, actually. So this is a perfect segue. We were talking about this with some of the attendees who are here tonight, too. I know a lot of people from the South Asian community are here tonight, and this is absolutely a celebration of the barrier breaking that this show has done. I know people are here with their children. Some are teenagers. Some are not quite teenagers yet. I myself am a solid millennial, and I was rewatching it the other day, and I still felt awkward with my dad in the house when Davy's writing about having sex with Paxton in her journal.
I cannot
right?
watch this show
cringe.
with my parents.
Yes. So
I do.
I don't know
my
how
grandma's
people do that.
pretty diehard Team Ben. My whole family,
Gen
we
Z.
all watch. Not gonna lie.
So that is what I wanted to ask. Have you had an awkward experience with your own family? And or what is your advice to parents and children who might be watching the show together, talking about some of these more adult themes?
Well, as I said, I don't watch this show with my parents. My sister's in here somewhere, and I can't even barely watch it with her. Yeah. She's my younger sister. But I also think that is something that is so cultural. It's I guess.
Funny.
Yeah, it's just been something that's so taboo. I mean, even in Bollywood movies, I remember the first time I saw an on-screen kiss was in Raja Hindustani, and I almost, I was mortified. I was a kid, and it was a kiss, and my parents were around, and I remember I had to leave and pretend I had to go to the bathroom. And honestly, nothing has changed, and I don't know if that's a good thing, but I genuinely don't have an answer to that question. It's genuinely awkward. But what I do really believe is that And as Poorna mentioned, some of the most amazing compliments that we've received about the show have been from mothers or from younger women saying that they watch this show with their mothers, and how it's, even if they don't speak about what they see, or even if it doesn't spark a conversation, it's almost what's unsaid while they're watching it that's created this bond that they've never had before. And I just find that so beautiful.
And also, just to riff on that point, if you're not talking about these issues in your family, which is very common for South Asian families or people of color, mental health, sexuality, someone in your bedroom or your living room has spoken it, and it has been spoken in your house through this show. And so it exists it just exists in the alchemy of the air. So I really think, like, no matter who you are, where you are, you'll find a place in our home, and also find a place in all our conversations.
I love that. Now, Maitreyi, I have met your mom.
Yeah.
I love her. She's amazing. She's the best.
pretty damn cool.
No surprise. Look who she raised. Anything you want to add there?
I mean, I'm the last person to give parenting advice. I'm not a parent.
Give us the younger
But-
person perspective.
What I will say is that over these 4 years, I have learned how absolutely privileged and blessed I am to have the parents that I do. And it's not a Gen Z thing of my parents are really chill with it. It's not. Because I have a lot of friends who can't watch it with their parents either. I'm very, very fortunate. I'm very fortunate that I have a mother and a father who drove me to set every day, stayed on set with me while working full-time jobs. They weren't just chilling. And they were always supportive, never complained. Like, my mom, my dad, their biggest priority when I'm doing a, sexy dream sequence with Paxton, it's funny. First of all, my mom thinks all the writing is hilarious, but their priority is, do you like what you're wearing? Do you feel comfortable doing what you're doing in the scene? And are you okay with what you're saying? Yes? Great. And then if I'm not comfortable, my parents always empower me to speak up. So I have to just shout out my parents, first of all, for that. Because that's give it up for my parents. They're quite cool. Yeah. But what I will say is, one thing that I've learned is that I know people with their parents who maybe English isn't their first language. Their kids will translate the show to their parents, because especially in like Tamil families, they want to see this Tamil girl do whatever she's doing. They have a lot of questions, and yeah, they do. A lot of questions. But it started that conversation in another way too, where like, sure, maybe I've heard of the instances where the mom or the father is teaching the child, okay, this is what this is about. This is what Davey's talking about here. But it's also cool when I see the kid teach the parents. And I think that's awesome. That's what, all art should be about. Just feeling and taking away something, big or small, whatever you want. Yeah.
I love that. And I think, yes, round of applause for that, first of all. And I can speak to that thoughtfulness from your parents and family and how important attention to detail and culture is also behind the scenes, right? So, we had this amazing Teen Vogue cover shoot a couple years ago with Maitreyi, and her mom was on set. That's where I first met her. And one of the shots was her surrounded by books, right? We were doing like a back-to-school theme for this. It was our August issue. And the photographer and some of the people on set were arranging books around her, including at her feet, and wanted to make like a chair, basically a throne out of books, and have her sit on it. And her mom comes up to me and is like, can we think about this a little bit? Because you know how in our culture we have a lot of respect. We don't want our feet on top of or by books. There's also something that was on the show. Yeah. And I just think that's so important too. And it was great to see that you've been surrounded by that from the beginning.
Oh, my mom instilled the fear of God in me if I ever stepped on a book. My brother, when he was in kindergarten, screamed at a white child because that kid stepped on a book and apparently proceeded to yell at him to kiss the book and apologize to the book, because education is the cornerstone of any thriving society. So, yes, that's the roots of the Teen Vogue cover, everyone.
Absolutely, yes. So some of these elements of representation, I would love to know if you have a favorite or if any just stand out to you over the years. Some of the scenes I loved are like Devi doing puja, right? Her casual talk with the Hindu gods, so great. Again, we've never seen something like that on mainstream television. So do you have any favorites that stood out to you?
Without season 4 things, right?
Right, yes.
I'm looking at you and saying that. Okay.
If there's a non-spoilery way to say it, I don't know, but yes.
I'm thinking, because I was thinking of a season 4 thing.
Richa, you want
You want me to go? Okay.
Can you please?
One thing that I am very proud of this show, nothing to do with my character actually, but I'm just so excited that this show normalizes finding love when you're a widow and in older age. That's something that, especially in our culture, is so taboo and looked down upon. And Poorna always says this one thing that I think is so beautiful, which is, TV can reflect who we are, but it can also show us who we can be. And I think that TV has the power to do that. And I really do hope that with Nalini's story and Pati's story, oh, sorry, spoiler.
Oh my God.
Shit! Okay, it's coming out in like 7 hours, whatever.
Richa.
Fire us, Netflix.
We're all very happy for
Too late, we're done.
I'll say that.
Forgot what I was saying. Yeah.
So with Nalini's storyline being a widow.
Yes.
Yes.
I hope that stories like that and seeing that really does open up those kinds of conversations, because it's something that we have never seen before with characters like ours.
What was your question again?
Did you have any favorite elements or plot lines about representation specifically? Like any scenes that you were like, I've never gotten to do this before?
Oh yeah, so it was episode 10. We've been doing press all day, and I think I feel Richa's hatred towards my.
I know what she's going to say
answers.
verbatim because she said it 30 times
Just
today.
feel it, like just say something new. It's Paxton Davies' sex scene for sure. I'm joking. It's not. It is. It's episode 10 where we disperse of Mohan's ashes. And I had never done that for my dad when he passed. And so to be able, and it's the exact ritual and the exact place where Mindy did for her mom. And it was so significant that we were on a mainstream American show on Netflix performing the most intimate of riots, just the three of us, with slokas that I grew up with, and just I often say that this show is one where our outsides are now similar to our insides, meaning the outside representation of us is mirroring what is actually happening in our lives and in our homes. And that scene was so cathartic, but so symbolic, and just felt so rooted in who I am and where I come from, that I've never felt more a sense of who I am than that scene.
I don't know if she said that earlier, but I think that was beautiful, Richa.
I've heard her say that.
Exactly.
Can't even count how many. No, but every time she says it, it still affects me. I mean, I agree with everything you said. And
We all three of us were really.
this is before the show came out while we were filming that scene. I just remember how we were just, all three of us, so connected that day, and we knew we had created something so special and so beautiful, but we had no idea if we were going to get another season, if people would like it. But we just that day knew that we were so proud of ourselves.
That's beautiful, and I think it's also the smallest things, Poorna, what you're talking about, of on-screen representation, right? Like I'm wearing this red thread because we did a family puja last week, and we see that with Mohan and his motorcycle in season 1. Those little details are so wonderful.
I was just gonna say really quickly, like for me, there's of course those like really heavy hitting moments, like you guys said, but I also really just love the small moments, whether it's Davey just saying like, yo, idli and sambar, nice. It's just like nice to hear that. It's nice to hear like Eleanor's character say, how dare you disrespect the Tamil goddess that you are. Just hearing another character of a different ethnicity also acknowledged. Those small things are really nice too. You know, it's normal.
It's what you were saying about how diverse and inclusive the show is. One of my favorite subplots is also Paxton learning about his Japanese ancestry, right? And the Japanese internment and all of that. Very personal. Again, never seen that depicted on a mainstream show like this.
That's also because we had a Japanese writer on staff, who knew about this
Oyama.
intimately.
Yeah. Well, so we've been speaking about how brilliant the writers are. Richa, I saw you post about this on Instagram as well. I think we should talk about the writer's strike and what's happening and the importance of that room. Rich, if you just want to share a little bit about kind of what you were just saying on Instagram the other day, if people hadn't seen that yet.
Sure. You're trying to get me in trouble here.
No, not at all. Not at all.
WGA strong. There you go. I picked you off.
Exactly. Well,
I don't know if
a lot of people here may not know what that is.
Yeah.
Basically, what's been happening in Hollywood is there's been, I don't know, how long has it been happening now? Almost a month? 2 months? The writer's strike has been happening. Oh, it feels longer than that. But, I don't know how many years it is, maybe every few years, every 5 years or something, contracts are renegotiated with the union. So there's the writers' union that represents every writer in Hollywood. Then there's the actors' union, which we are all a part of. And then there's the directors' guild, and then there's producers. So basically everyone has a union. And what's happening is Hollywood has completely changed with streaming and with the new platforms that all of these shows are on that are watched by a global audience, and the pay structures have changed, and health insurance structures have changed, and it's basically become very difficult for 99%, I would argue, of actors, writers, directors, producers, everybody to make a living wage these days because we just don't get paid what we used to get paid on network television with royalties. Royalties basically don't exist anymore. And so writers are striking right now, which means that no writer is allowed to work right now, which means all productions have been shut down because you cannot have a production without writers. And the actors have just authorized to initiate a strike if we need to. We all voted, and there was a majority of actors who voted, yes, we want a strike if they do not give us what we need to survive, essentially. What else do you want me to say about it?
No, that's perfect. That was a perfect summary.
I'm just trying to explain what's happening because a lot of people may not understand it. If the actors do strike, which we will probably find out soon, I mean, Hollywood it's already shut down, but it will completely shut down. And WGA Strong is the hashtag, which means all the unions are basically standing together in solidarity right now because we need change and we need our health insurance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Labor rights are important.
I was going to say that solidarity has been incredible to see. I mean, I saw Mindy say she and Lang didn't come to the premiere last week in LA
because they're part of the writers' union.
Out of solidarity. So
I mean,
it's
also
serious.
writers of color, especially female writers of color, are less likely to get pay parity and, just...
Actors as well.
Yeah.
It's always the marginalized actors, writers, everybody, people of color, actors, writers with disabilities, LGBTQ+, you get what I'm saying. We're paid the least. So it's us who have to fight the most.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Back to the show, we've talked a little bit about mental health. Some of my favorite scenes are your therapy scenes with Niecy Nash. Amazing.
Shout out to Niecy.
Shout out to Niecy.
Woo!
Tell me about what you've learned working with her over the years, or if you have any favorite takeaways from those scenes.
I love that question because I feel like often I get asked about the therapy as Dr. Ryan and Davy, but as Niecy Nash and Maitreyi Ramakrishnan, that woman has taught me a hell of a lot, and I am so thankful for her. She has taught me how to conduct myself on set. She has taught me how to respect myself, how to respect my time, and I'm so thankful for her. Also, she's amazing to just work with as a scene partner, so I learn as an actor how to be a good actress, and yeah, I'm so thankful for her. She's super cool. Those are also some of my favorite scenes. I wish Davy went to therapy more. I'll never forget when she said my favorite line of the entire show, including season 4. I'm biased, but when she says that line, Davy, you feel a lot, which also means you're gonna hurt a lot, but it also means you're gonna live such a rich and beautiful life. When Niecy said that, that was just therapy advice for me. And those
all
were
of us.
real
For all of
tears.
us.
Oh, it was great, but I love those scenes. I love her inclusion in the show, and I love that also the Vishwakumar family never shames Davy for going to therapy, right? Nalini's not taking a dig at the fact that her daughter goes. Yeah. Kamala's not saying anything off the cuff, nor is Nirmala. It's very normalized that this young South Asian girl goes to therapy. Yeah. We can say, oh, well, that's not the norm. It's kind of not, unfortunately. But what I like about the show, and Mindy has talked about it before, sometimes it's nice to just show the positive, to show what we can be, right? Yeah. What we can do. Because sometimes the world that we live in is kind of a little bleak. And we might need a little positivity of, destigmatization about mental health.
Absolutely. Again, especially in our community and in immigrant families, like there are a lot of obstacles that come up with that. I love that you quoted that scene in particular because it stood out to me. I think it stood out to all of us.
Yeah.
I'm somebody who has struggled with depression and anxiety like all of my adult life. I go to therapy. My dad's reaction was like, "What did I do wrong?" Making it about him, first of all. We can start there, but it really is so beautiful the way that the show has normalized all of that. And I guess you're the only person who really got to work with Nisi, so it's great to hear what the behind the scenes was.
She's such a gem and just such a professional.
Yeah.
Seriously, the coolest.
I think another thing people really appreciate about this show is its depiction of multi-generational South Asian women. You all have very different journeys, experiences. Of course, it's intertwined with each other. The introduction of Nirmala Auntie is just the best.
The greatest character of the series.
She's so wonderful.
And Trent.
Her and Trent. It's like a competition
Yes,
between her and Trent.
yes, I do love Trent.
Maybe Mr.
Yes.
Shapiro, too.
Yes. So talk to me about portraying the interplay between your characters and in this family and how you feel about that multi-generational span.
I mean, first of all, it normalizes what immigrant families actually look like. Like we're multi-generational. At the age of Devi, I had my cousin and my Pati living with me as well, you know, and it's for me, all the women are a composite of the same person. We're just in different life stages, right? So Nalini was a Kamala when she first came here. Pati, Pati's a widow and was a Nalini at some point as well, and we're all able to learn so much from Devi. We're able to learn so much from each other. In the beginning seasons, you'll really see us being each other's foils, and that's our role. And as the seasons progress, and especially for season 4, we're each other's biggest supporter, biggest cheerleaders, and biggest source of learning. Which is actually what happens within a multi-generational household.
And I just want to add to, I think that also speaks to the brilliance of Mindy and Lang because, you know, characters like Nalini and Kamala and Pati for that matter, usually if we have, I don't think we've ever seen characters like theirs, but if we have, they're always the foils to the main character. They would have been the foils to Devi and then their storylines would have ended after the first season or they would have kind of just, you know, disappeared after that. But, you know, that's kind of how they started off, but then they went on to have these beautiful, rich arcs and, you know, Kamala and Devi's relationship. And Devi hates Kamala in season 1, and they go on to become like sisters. And I mean, they are sisters, but, you know, it's just so beautiful to see how the relationships evolve and how the characters evolve, and it's what makes me so proud of this show.
And I just wanted to add something, which is like South Asian women, especially a Nalini or a Pati, have a very strong period at the end of their narratives, right? The widow, you know, but whatever. There's no. It's just so one-dimensional. And Mindy and Lang have decided, no, this is not where I'm putting the period for this character. It's a comma, and the story keeps going on. And at the end of season 4, you can actually imagine where these characters are in 5 or 10 years. Yeah. So it's just a meditation on womanhood that Mindy and Lang have created. That's beautiful.
Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, a big part of my life growing up until I was 15, when Devi started her journey in season 1, was living with, of course, like my dad, my brother, my grandpa, but it was me, my mom, my grandma, her mom, and then my grandma's mom, my great-grandma, and all under one roof. And that was like my life. That was my normal. I never went to daycare because my grandma would pick me up from school in her car and drive me to her house, which was 5 minutes away. And then eventually, we all lived under the same like roof together. Unfortunately, when I was 15, my great-grandma passed away to like Alzheimer's. But I, at the time, didn't realize what a gift it was having her around, you know? But now I definitely do because just like, you know, Poorna said, it's foils of each other. Like, all the time, extended family, who I've never met because that's how a lot of Tamil families roll. A lot of them say, like, oh my God, I just saw, like, Maitreyi's, like, red carpet photo. She looks just like Achi. Like, that's crazy. So I am who I am because of the women in my real life. And it was really awesome to see Devi be the woman she is because of her biggest cheerleaders in her own home. It's truly reflective of South Asian families. We don't know the word retirement home. We really don't.
Maybe we should, though.
No. No, I loved having my great-grandma
Assisted
around.
living facility.
I loved having my great-grandma around, and I will be selfish, and I do not care, and I will not know that word. But yeah, it was just very, it hit home on a very personal level, especially when Nirmala's character was introduced in season 2.
Now, Richa, you mentioned Devi and Kamala's relationship, which I do want to talk about a little bit more. She is the older and seemingly perfect cousin until Devi and the viewers realize she is not so perfect after all, based on societal cultural expectations, of course. One of my favorite lines is when Devi discovers her making out with her boyfriend, and she's like, "You're not perfect, you're bad like me." And we could unpack that whole idea of like feeling bad if you disappointed your parents, right? Like we all feel that. But talk to me about the evolution for Kamala in that sense.
First of all, not that Maitreyi hated me when we met, but Kamala and Devi's relationship is very much like our relationship. We poke each other, we learn from each other. She makes fun of me all the time. She hits me sometimes.
Dude, it's friendship punches. I'm sorry. You don't know my strength. I'm like the Hulk.
She doesn't know her strength. But, it's really, as I mentioned, it's really just wonderful as the actor playing Kamala to get to do this storyline where, as I said, in the first season, she's kind of there just to be her foil, and usually that's the end. And just to see the evolution and to see them grow closer. And there's a really exciting scene that I won't say what it is in season 4 that kind of encompasses what that evolution is.
Not trailer.
Oh yeah, it's kind of in the trailer, but it's not just the evolution of their relationship, but it's also their individual growth, and especially for Devi. And so you guys will see when you see season 4. But I as a fan of the show love the Kamala Devi scenes. I think their relationship is so real and it's so relatable. And as I said, my sister's here somewhere, and anyone who has a sister, it's something that we've never seen 2 brown sisters on American television, first of all, and it's just one of my favorite things to see.
Now, possibly nobody has more growth on the show than Devi, right? From where we see her in season 1 to where she ends up. What do you want people to take away from her character's journey?
I'm going to be so honest. When you said that, my brain went, yeah, she's kind of like Iron Man. I don't know why that's where my brain went first. Anyways, moving on. I'm not Robert
Feature
Downey
in the Marvel Universe? Is that what we're hinting at?
I mean, who knows? No, I'm not Robert Downey Jr. I am not Iron Man. It's fine. Don't take that away, guys. No, Devi definitely being, the main character in that, that center of the whole Sherman Oaks universe has a lot of character growth. And it's really remarkable to see because I think she's an anti-hero of the Never Have I Ever story, but truly, yeah, such a likable one. She has grown up so much, and she went on the hero's journey, but a hero's journey that doesn't just end. It continues, and it's real, and it's raw. As an actor, I've always said to audiences, take away whatever you want. I can't control that. I've met so many fans where they've said, like, for them, it's the visual representation of a brown girl. Yeah. I've met other fans where it's unpacking the grief of losing their own parent, right? Some, it's just, I love Trent. I am some. No, I'm just kidding.
But for most, it's Paxton.
Well, I just hope fans take away whatever they want from the show, truly, no matter how big or small. And I want to say that for the fans who are maybe kind of sad that the show's ending because it did provide them such representation, and maybe you feel a little lost because it's like, hey, what other show does this for me? I just want to say, I'm really excited about my future. I have no idea what I'm going to do. Like, seriously, I really don't. But I'm so excited because I know good things are coming. But I also know that means for the future of TV and film. And sure, Never Have I Ever is ending now, and that sucks. It's sad. But there's going to be more shows that do the same thing, but actually better.
Can you
We're
imagine?
only getting better.
Yeah.
So that's what I hope they take away, that this isn't the end for a representation, for feeling seen, for just feeling laughs and absolutely crying your eyes out because you're going to cry. Yeah.
You know, Poorna and I just went to the 25th anniversary of Will and Grace on Monday, and we watched a panel discussion with Deborah Messing and, oh my God, I forgot the actor's name. Something. Some white actor. Yeah, most of the young people probably don't even know what this show is. But what that show did for the LGBTQ plus community 25 years ago and continued to pave the way for other shows, including Never Have I Ever, that has, you know, Fabiola's storyline. I really believe that that's what this show has done for the South Asian community, and it's the legacy that we've already seen. It's, you know, Poorna has already gone on to do another show. I just filmed another series, and Maitreyi is going to do all kinds of incredible, brilliant things. And I really do believe it's because of this show that the roles that we're seeing and being offered right now had never existed before. I mean, Poorna has been here longer than all of us, and then me second, and we know from experience that what we're seeing today did not exist even 2 years ago. Yeah.
I did want to ask you about that because you had said like this show is the most important, I think, personal and professional journey that you've been on, and you gave these great remarks last night where you talked about how South Asians were locked out of these rooms previously, and now we're filling these rooms. So talk to me about the change in the industry that you've seen over your career.
Well, I was really moved because we were at an event last night, and Versha had brought her baby, and her baby is named Devi. After her two grandmothers who were also named Devi. But also this baby will never know what it means to feel invisible and underestimated and not represented. There's a show where the lead character has her name on it, you know. We were completely erased, completely marginalized. We were never the center of any story that we saw, and therefore never the center of our own narratives in that weird way. What was your question? Totally.
The change that you've seen in the industry to the point where we are now.
Look, I think we just scratched the surface. I think Never Have I Ever has just scratched the surface, but I do know that the growth and community and sense of belonging that we all feel in the last 4 years, it's like leaps and bounds. You know, we took a giant step for representation, especially for South Asian representation. And what I love most is people saying, that didn't represent me. I loved that criticism of the show because it meant that they were hungry and there was a possibility of having something reflect them and who they are, and they demanded to see a more nuanced version of themselves. And those people are going to go on and create that. This is just the small fire that got lit, and it's just going to blow up. And I'm on a show called Delhi Boys, which, you know, we've only seen model minorities on television, including the Vishwa Kumars, you know, it's a doctor and accomplished whatever, and Delhi Boys is about a cocaine-dealing family, and like that's what is next for us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Poorna is going to be playing on two different, a movie and a series, but totally different. She plays a South Asian mafia gangster boss.
yeah, on two different things.
I hope she wears outfits like this because it's perfect.
She looks like one too.
Yeah.
But it's incredible, the doors that this has opened, and we feel it every day on different sets, and what's coming to us is we feel the change that we were a small part of creating.
Yeah.
And we will be here in 25 years with a retrospective. I do know that.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It's going to be incredible. Now, you mentioned the successful careers. I wanted to talk about that too briefly, of Kamala and Nalini in medicine and science as well. That's also such a great character arc, Kamala having to stand up to white men in her lab, classic. So tell me about why that is an important aspect of their characters to show.
Oh, wow. That was actually my favorite storyline and season 4 Kamala, to be honest. Doing that arc and showing her in her lab, and you know, women in color in STEM fields in real life, it's not something that they just wrote for Kamala. This is something that happens in real life. It's such a real systemic problem, and the messages I received after that season came out from South Asian and even non-South Asian, just women of color in general around the world, who said that's me, that literally happens to me. And obviously this goes beyond STEM fields as well, but specifically in STEM fields, I just want to speak about it because it's important. And women not being given credit, not being able to use their voice, their names being completely erased from papers. These things really happen. And I was just so proud to do that storyline. And smashing that beaker was really cathartic for me.
All right, we've got some really great audience questions that have come in, so thank you all for these. If you could catch up with your character in 5 years, where would you hope for your character to be? Anybody want to go first with that one?
She's looking at me. Okay.
I'm thinking.
I've been saying this, and I stand by it. I have so many people in my life who I know, or friends of friends who have come here from India, to pursue education, and then they decided on their own to go back to India. And I think there's something so amazing about that. I don't think it's not true that everybody comes here and it's a better life. It's just simply not true. I genuinely think that Kamala is going to be thriving in every way in 5 years, and that's where the direction she's going. But I just think it'd be so interesting to see her take everything she's learned and all of the growth she's experienced, and whether or not she's in a relationship, and go back to India and make a life for herself there.
That's super interesting. I love that.
I think Nalini is definitely living her best life. She's downloaded all the dating apps possible. Jokes aside, I think, for me, this character is very much based on my own mom. And my mom got remarried much older at 64, and then she lost her second husband as well. That was such a stupid insider joke. You won't get it. But she, for the first time in her entire life, has been alone. And it has been, I see her life, and it is the first time in her life where she doesn't have to deal with a effing man anymore.
Yes.
She just does what she wants. I went with her to buy a swimming costume. It was traumatic, but she swims. She's like, she eats, she goes out, she's just found her life finally. And so, I think Nalini's journey is like she's so much in grief that she can barely parent, but she cannot take care of herself. So I think in the next 5 years, it's about just maybe taking care of herself and doing what she wants and what she needs, with or without a man, or many.
Yes.
I think for Davy, I've been asked what would Davy's career be, and I thought it would be president.
Or Supreme Court justice or something?
Yeah, but it's not though. It's contestant on Too Hot to Handle.
Always breaking barriers. Always.
I mean, that's what Davy would be. The first, Tamil woman on Too Hot to Handle. But what I would want, regardless of if she's doing something epic or epic, both are epic, I think I would want, if I could sit down and just go out, for dinner with her, I just would want to hear every single piece of drama that she's going through. Now, hear me out. I want to hear about every single guy that she's fallen in love with at this point. I want to hear every single heartbreak. I want to hear every single betrayal, every single moment that she was proud of herself. Because the thing I love about Davy the most, that's been the same since season 1, is how big her heart is and her capacity to feel. And I would really hope, even if she makes a whole dinner about herself and I never get a word in, I really hope she keeps that heart, because that's what I've learned from her. And at one moment in my life, I kind of let go of that heart, but the character of Davy reminded me that that heart is very special. It's special to feel a lot and, go through so many emotions. So if I could just know that she still has that, heart of gold that sometimes is a little chaotic, I'd be really happy.
So yes, speaking of that chaos, have you ever had a crazy Davy moment? This is a question from the audience.
Me?
For all of you, but we'll start with you, Maitreyi.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Guys, you get angry, how much of a crazy Davy moment is just a woman of color getting angry? I mean, come on. And I love seeing her get all angry and upset. I mean, there's many times I've ripped out a kitchen drawer, and my lovely brother has swooped in to fix it.
Many times. Wow.
Actually, 2 times in the same day. My brother didn't do a good job fixing it the first time. That's not my problem, it's his. God, like, cover my ass better. Jeez. But yeah, I've definitely had a crazy Davy moment. No shame in that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've all had that, and I totally agree with Maitreyi that sometimes that really is just a woman of color being angry, and it's not crazy at all, actually, and it's wonderful, and we should all feel rage, and we should all be angry, and we should express that anger. And I've not smashed a beaker, but I've definitely thrown glasses at walls, and they've shattered.
Nice.
Yeah, it felt great. Yeah, I'm gonna do it again sometime.
I'm totally with Richa. I feel like rage is so off limits for so many brown girls, and to have a crazy Davy moment is just a moment where you've hit some kind of limit and you're not allowed to express how it feels. Yeah. And so I hope to have many, many crazy Davy moments.
Love that. It's a great takeaway from this show. This question is for Richa. We saw it in the trailer, so I don't think it's a spoiler. Somebody wants to know more about the dance scene this season.
I mean, it's like so unclear whether it's a spoiler. I feel like it should be a spoiler.
Yeah.
Because you just like it a lot.
Yeah, I like it a lot, but also
What
like
to say about it?
Yeah. Anyways, what was the question though?
Tell us about the dance scene. What can you tell us about the dance scene?
Well, yeah, there's a dance scene in season 4. In case you haven't seen the trailer, it's something that for me, it was the best moment of my entire time on Never Have I Ever, and. What I was talking about earlier was, you see Kamala and Devi's evolution and their relationship, and especially Devi's growth, and it's because they do a dance together. They do not a Bollywood. It's actually a Tamil song, which we very, very consciously chose. And from season 1, when we see Devi looking at the group of dancers and thinking it's so lame, and then you see her dancing proudly with her cousin in season 4, and Maitreyi and I really wanted this dance to happen for a long time. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a dancer in real life, so it's something that was a dream come true for me to merge that part of my life on a show that is a dream show for me to be on in the first place. And we did a dance together in real life outside of set during season 2 to a song called Sheila Ki Jawani that Maitreyi had asked me to teach her for her birthday. And then we shot a video, and we did it because we really wanted to do it, but also we really wanted to plant a seed to Netflix and Mindy to make Kamala and Devi dance on the show, and it worked.
What is an Indian show without a big fat Indian wedding?
And what I was going to add was that it just felt like not just a celebration of these characters and of the dance and our culture, but it really was the best way to come to an end of the series, and it felt like a celebration of everything that the show has meant to us and to the world, and I couldn't have asked for a better ending.
You're gonna make me emotional. This is too much. I'm really glad to hear that it was like your favorite experience. So thank you, audience, for that question.
Maitreyi and I just had so much fun. Also, we actually had very little time to learn it. Like one Saturday afternoon, like 3 days before it, but then like in between scenes.
No, you were super awesome with letting me bother you to say, can we run the moves, please? Please, please. So thank you.
You killed it. I'm proud of you.
Here is a very honest and vulnerable audience question. She says, I'm struggling a bit with my mental health, anxiety, and depression. So I am simply wondering what keeps you going? And then also in brackets, also I love you so much. You are all ridiculously incredible actors. So what keeps you going? Yeah.
Well, first of all, to whoever asked that, thank you. Thank you for asking that. That's very brave of you. In my experience, I'll be so honest. To whoever asked that question, let me match your level. I have never felt more depressed in my entire life than I have in the past 4 years, because it was really scary. Being 17 and having millions of people just have unsolicited opinions about you on the internet, for the better or for the worse, where suddenly you feel like those opinions that are nice can suddenly turn terrible, and that could be based off of maybe something that you said, or maybe intentions were misread, or maybe they just hate how your body looks, and suddenly you feel ugly, and then now you don't like looking at photos of yourself, and it's terrible, and you literally just want to hide away from the world, and you don't even want to talk to your friends who have known you since you were 5, and you can't even talk to your own brother about it. It sucks. It's so terrible. And this is just my position, sure, as being an actor. But it's not because I'm an actor. It's just because I'm a person who's growing up, not someone who has lived life from 17 to 21 on this experience, but it's just anyone. It can happen to anyone at any age. Anxiety and depression is very, very real, and it's unique to you, and it can really consume you. But just remember that there are times that it's gonna really suck. It's gonna be really hard. But there are people out there that do love you. For me personally, that's been my rock. I'm very blessed to have the parents that I do, as we talked about, but also my friends. And I love them so much. They always remind me of the person that I am. But even more than that, the person that gets me up and out of bed when things feel really rough and I want to give up and I'm just done and I don't want to do anything, it's myself. Because I am the person that I will be stuck with until the day I die. And Davey forced me to love myself. That meant staring in the mirror and really just telling myself, I am beautiful, I am smart, and I am goddamn talented and funny. I deserve the job that I do. So, myself is the biggest rock in my life. I had to build a relationship with myself to get that rock. And there's times when sometimes I kind of flop on myself, but that's okay too. So yeah, that's my unsolicited advice.
No, it was solicited.
And Versha, you said you also struggled. So what would your advice be?
I would say try to remember, which is, I know this is so hard when you're feeling low, but try to remember that you are not alone. I think that's maybe the worst thing about depression is it's so isolating. You can feel like nobody can understand me, nobody will ever know the way I feel, nobody likes me, whatever it is. But trust me, someone somewhere out there feels the way that you feel, and there's somebody for you to talk to about it. You may have not discovered them yet, but there absolutely is. You're never as alone as you feel.
Studies actually show that basically every human being on this planet will experience depression at least one time in their life. Yeah. So you're definitely not alone.
Yeah, exactly. And Maitreyi, thank you so much for sharing that. That was really beautiful and awesome of you.
I mean, I just say everything that comes in my head. I can't really filter. Me being vulnerable is just me saying what's in my head, including being Iron Man, okay? We've learned this.
Swinging to the other end, we only have a couple minutes left, which makes me sad. I wanted to get through as many of these as we can. But on the other end of the spectrum, this is another great audience question for Poorna. How are you so hot?
Yeah, seriously, can you please tell us?
Yes.
And she just keeps getting hotter. Like every look, every red carpet, she just keeps getting hotter.
2 weeks ago, I hit menopause. I highly recommend it. You get even hotter.
Literally.
Anusha wants to know, what's your self-care and skincare secret or routine?
Mine? Yeah. Honestly, my husband lets me sleep in. You think that's nothing. I sleep till like 10:30, 11 sometimes. And he brings me tea in bed. I have a very simple family life. My life is outside of work is very simple. It's very intensely loving, and I do believe that the love I have and the sleep I have it goes a long way.
I'm with you there. Honestly, the thing I miss most about I'm a newborn parent, 4-month-old, sleep. It's so important. So if you're out there and you don't have kids, please enjoy your sleep.
Yeah, yes. Just enjoy. Just if you're young, just sleep. Don't listen to anyone. Just sleep. Yes. It's like my favorite thing in the world. But that's very sweet of whoever asked. Thank you.
Okay, another quickie. What did you steal from set?
Oh my God, me and Maitreyi. I don't know if she stole. I definitely stole it, but we took.
I stole it.
Okay, I stole it too. We took the same thing, which we just learned yesterday.
Yeah.
We both took. So there was one in the Vishwa Kumar house, and then there was like a copy of it somewhere. So
we always
have
have
a backup. It was the lamp, if any of you remember, behind the couch.
Well, they probably don't focus on the lamp.
Well, I did. It's my favorite thing in the house.
Why would they focus on the lamp?
I have a picture of it somewhere. It's a lamp that has little kamala means lotus, and it has little kamalas on it. And you know, for me, it was taking a piece of set home and bringing it into my new home. And I just learned that Maitreyi did the same thing. So
Amma did the same thing.
Both
I don't care
have
about
the
a
same
lamp,
in our homes.
What do I know about interior design? Yeah. Amma took it home.
It's a really nice lamp. It was at World Market, and now they're sold out.
Poorna, did you take anything from
Yes,
set?
I took all her clothes.
Can we talk about Nalini's fashion?
Yes,
On the show?
absolutely,
I
absolutely.
took all her clothes.
Features have been written, but seriously, like her fashion is so good, and there's also a lot of intention in it too, right? The patterns, some of the designers that she wears.
Yes.
So just tell us how awesome was it to
First of
to
all,
do
this
that?
this conversation wouldn't exist without collaboration from a costume designer who wanted to get it right and who wanted to make us happy and who was willing to have these conversations, which, it's India and it's WhatsApp. It's ridiculously hard and it's all tons of non sequiturs. But they committed to making this immigrant woman portrayed as someone with fashion, tasted fashion, and with it, and professional, and concerned about what she looks like, and that is not how immigrant women are ever portrayed. So we really had to go a long way in sourcing fashion from India, and they're all the designers are such dear friends of mine and people brands that I use in my daily life. And it was such a pleasure and treat to introduce the costume designers to them and America to them.
Now,
wait.
go ahead.
No, you go. I'm sorry.
We have to wrap up soon, so you go first.
Okay, I have a cool one.
Okay.
Well, I've been saying in interviews that I took the harp. I did.
You did?
Yeah, I took the whole thing.
Can you play it? I know you can play piano.
I can play piano. Technically a harp is just an upright, grand piano. So I can play the harp a little bit, not nearly as well as Davey does, because that's a track. But I know the basics. I did take the original harp because that's the one that we've had all 4 seasons. But one thing I haven't said in interviews that I've, done is I took, and I don't even know if you guys know this, I took the Vishal Kumar front door. Now hear me out.
Where is it?
In a storage unit in Canada. No, wait. Do you want why? There we go. Beautiful question, Richa. Well, I have an answer for you. Essentially, I had this crazy idea. I have a lot of crazy ideas, but I had this idea. In my future, one day I want to make my own projects, right? Constantly, I'm being told my whole casting story is quite crazy, right? It's pretty mythical in a way of plucked out of 15,000, all that jazz, right? And people say, you should make that into a movie and all of that. As a creative brain who loves reading books and wants to adapt those books and just wants to make more, right? Mm-hmm. I want to start my own production company. So I have this idea. Thank you. That was really nice of you. I appreciate that. Thank you. One day down the line, don't get your hopes up too soon.
No pressure. You should take some time off if you want.
But my idea is that on every project that I work on, I take a door. Because in my production company's offices, I want each door to be one from a project that I've worked on. And specifically, the door that will be to the room that is the casting office, where young talent will walk into for their first time, for their first audition, will be the door, the very door that I touch every single time, every single Vishal Kumar household scene throughout all 4 seasons. Kind of like a good luck charm to anyone who walks through.
Yes.
So, I've never said that before, but that's it. And they gave me the wreath, too. The orange wreath on it? That came with it as well. Yeah. So I have a door.
I approve of
amazing.
this. I approve.
That is incredible forethought, and I can't wait to see that.
What did you think about all of that, when we were rapping and everything?
Dude, I have wild thoughts when I'm getting my makeup and hair done. You're wild ideas.
Well, I think that is a beautiful note to end on. But just as we're closing this out, and again, we're only hours away from the whole world getting to see this wonderful, wonderful season. Again, no spoilers, but as a journalist and a viewer, I know it's really hard to end a popular show well, and I just want to say they absolutely stuck the landing. It's so good, and it's so well done, and there's so many characters that they kind of have to wrap up, and it's still just beautifully, beautifully done. So as a final lightning round, what is a word or a phrase about your character that people can look forward to in this final season?
Look forward to in the final.
Yes.
Hot ass.
Love it, love it. Not sure you can top that, but let's go. Let's try.
No, my word's not shit. Richa is saying. I would say power.
I feel like shit now.
I would say Davy in one word in season 4, gratitude.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful.
Hot ass, power, gratitude.
What a trio,
So
iconic
sorry.
trio. We are so grateful to all of you again for joining us tonight. Thank you so much, and thank you to these wonderful, wonderful women. Go enjoy the show, tweet at us about it after, and thank you again for being here. Get home safely.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.